You see what I mean? That is not a forced error, that's a rather unforced error, but they come so awkwardly. And there. Push back. Yeah. So hello everybody, welcome back to another video and a match analysis video for the first time since a very long time. As most of you might know, Timo Boll just retired after the Paris Olympics from the international scene at least, and I thought it would be fitting to review my match against him because I played him one time in 2020 in the German Cup, the quarterfinal of the German Cup, and it was such an honor playing that match because everybody has a favorite player, and growing up Timo was my favorite player, and even after. He still was. So to play my idol, it's really a dream come true. Before I maybe dive into the match, I mean, if you want to just get to the start of the match, that is here. If you want to just relive the experience a little bit with me, then stick around because I thought it would be fitting to just get through the whole experience of going there, going to Borussia Düsseldorf and playing against Düsseldorf and eventually playing against Timo. When we found out that we played Düsseldorf in the quarterfinal. Before, in practice, people were joking and kidding around that, oh, Olaf, you might play Timo, aren't you going to be too scared of that? I just laughed it off, you know, waving it off, thinking it would never happen. Because it's such a surrealistic concept, not something that you'd figure would happen. So when the match day came and we got there, I still wasn't really thinking about the possibility or the option of playing Timo, but more so the other guys like Kalberg or Christian Karlsson. Of course, they're also incredibly strong players and much stronger than me, and would also be a very good experience and opportunity, but not in the same way as playing Timo. So then we get there and we're warming up. Timo's in the hall. He's also warming up. You look a little bit because not the first time I saw him in real life, but one of the first times. Then the draw was made about 45 minutes in advance, and I figured I had to play Timo in, was it the opening match or the second match? I'm not entirely sure. Then all of a sudden it sort of started to hit me, but not entirely yet. So I was like, oh, okay, you know, I was sort of hoping for it to play Timo. Now that I get the chance, it's very nice, very nice. The moment started sort of dawning on me when, because there's a big screen. There's a big screen in the hall of the Borussia Düsseldorf. It's not a teleprompter or anything. It just shows basically the live score of the match. And so before the match, you're also getting like an overview of the matches and what the match order is going to be like. And so we're warming up, and then this really giant 3 meter by 4 meter screen or something, I'm exaggerating, I'm not really sure. It's there in the corner of the hall. There I see Timo Boll versus Olaf Kozolowski. And once I saw it on the screen there, then it really hit me that, oh, I'm really going to play Timo Boll. Unfortunately, without an audience, maybe for the better because the match was done rather quickly. It was in COVID times, so that was really spectator free. So I was a little bit nervous, of course, during the match. More happy playing the match than I was eager to win, or I sort of wanted to prove myself, not to let myself get destroyed, but I knew there was virtually no chance of beating him, so I just wanted to make the best out of the experience, have fun. And so I suppose let's just dive into the match and see how I did.
Nach vorne gespielt. Schauen wir, ob das Kozolowski auch gelingt. 0:0.
Good opening point, but he caught that last ball in the deep forehand. And what I remember from playing him is that when he pushes, like virtually all his pushes are with little to no rotation. So I think you'll see me playing a few balls over the table. A few first or third balls, that is.
Präferenzsache. Lehrbuchmäßig
You see how many times he wants to go to this middle. When he pushes long or half long, it's not going to be in the corner or in the racket, it's going to be in the middle.
Schwachstelle des jungen Belgiers für sich ausgemacht zu haben. Aber wenn
if I may say so myself. Yeah. But his serve was also incredibly varied. Every serve was a little bit different than the previous one. And I never really got into a rhythm on that aspect. Like my receives were rather passive.
2 gelungenen Aufschlägen.
You see, like the serve over there, the serve came, first of all, usually they come quite short, and especially I think in the hall of Düsseldorf, they have a table which stops a lot, so the ball doesn't really glide through, but instead it more so, it's very impacted by the rotation. So you have the opportunity there to play a lot of very short serves. So that is one reason why my receives were quite passive when I started to come in with a flick. But the second reason was also that when Timo serves with topspin, it really is with topspin. He didn't really try to hide it. I think even though I had a lot of trouble with the serve, I could read it quite well. I was not surprised by what rotation was on the serve, but more so the placement, the variation. So when he served topspin and the balls came short, I really had not a lot of options besides sort of depositing the ball on the table, and then he took over, played a counter spin or whatever on that ball, and immediately I was put under pressure.
9-8.
Okay. And he doesn't really accelerate. I mean, he's very, not notorious, but Timo is very known for playing very spinny shots. And so there's not a lot of power in them, but they come with a lot of rotation, quite slow, often quite short. So when you aren't very used to stepping in or taking over, yeah, and you just stay on this one position, you're going to be in trouble. And with my reverse pendulum serve, he did have some issues, I think. But I couldn't really capitalize on them, not too much. See, again, like that serve, yeah, I sort of recovered quite well. But that flick was too passive.
4 beide.
And if you notice, one thing that is quite a pattern is that either he wants to receive like long in the middle, which was a bit awkward for me, or sometimes half long, or he wanted to go short in the forehand. And there I couldn't really capitalize on anything. Sometimes when I had a half high ball, then I could do something. All the rest, I had virtually no other option than to open the game, because as I said, his pushes don't come with a lot of backspin or a lot of rotation. And the same goes for those short receives. Maybe that was just against me, it was a coincidence. I'm not saying it's a general rule for him, but they came quite dead, so it felt strange to push those balls back. So I was sort of like lifting those short pushes up, basically playing right into his hand.
Den 19-jährigen Belgier. Und die Möglichkeit zu einem guten Gegenspin für Boll.
So that was a bad serve, but normally that doesn't happen. And you see how that serve came just a tiny bit more into the middle? So it was not the exact same place. And that is something which sets him apart from other guys.
Ein Mittellass funktioniert. 7-6.
He doesn't really serve twice at the same time. And there again, exploitation of my short forehand.
Zum 8-6.
See, quite a recurring patterns.
6-10. 4 Satzbälle für Timo Boll.
And so the second set is concluded. While I was playing the match, honestly, I thought, of course, of the tactics and the strategies and what to play for the next shot. But sometimes when he was like getting ready for serve and he's sort of looking at the table, half looking at me with one eye, it just made me realize that I'm really playing Timo Boll. Like Timo Boll is standing 2 meters in front of me and we're playing an official match. And see, those shots, they didn't really put me under pressure, so I wouldn't say it's like a forced error, but it's more so the case of him just because his timing and his rhythm is rather awkward and it was not comfortable for me. At the time I was rather good at playing lefties because the training center where I came from almost completely was comprised of lefties, of left-handers. So a lot of practices was just playing backhand, switch to forehand whenever they want. So in that diagonal, the backhand, I was usually quite consistent, but against him it was not the same tempo. It was not the same tempo. The balls came much slower with a bit more rotation, or they came a bit higher, a bit shorter. And that made me make so many mistakes.
Timo Boll.
I have to say that my first balls weren't proper, weren't good at all.
Kann sich irgendwann darauf einstellen. Ein Fuchs wie Boll weiß.
See, that is an unfortunate mistake, shouldn't happen. You see what I mean? That is not a forced error, that's a rather unforced error, but they come so awkwardly. And there. Push back. Yeah. I think during that point I was thinking of nothing else besides please don't miss, please don't miss. And there was like, I don't know, something was in the air that I was going to lose the point. I was going to, and it happened. Yeah. And right after I took a timeout.
Harakiri-mäßig. Hat's geklappt, 7-4. Er verkürzt.
Yeah, towards the end I took just a few more risks. Started almost exclusively serving like topspin with the reverse pendulum serve in his forehand or with more side spin, just because I wanted the game to be open almost immediately. Because over the table there was no chance for me. So yeah, I took a few more risks, which you'll see, I think. Yeah, that was unfortunate. That was unfortunate because, you know, you feel like you've put him under pressure just because he goes to the second position.
Diesmal gut gelesen von Timo Boll. 10-9, Matchball.
Yeah, and from here on out I really wanted to start every rally with the forehand if I could. Just because with backhand there was not enough opportunities for me to win the point. He wasn't under pressure at all.
Matchball für
So you see here.
Nächste Möglichkeit, Düsseldorf mit 1:0 in Führung zu bringen.
Once
Wieder
more.
die
I
Rückkehr.
think now Timo realized that he shouldn't go to the middle or to the backhand anymore. See, once more, that's the case of him just serving this awkward short serve in the forehand with topspin, which I couldn't really do much on, except playing a weak flick, and then he was just anticipating. And I think also he wanted to serve this reverse pendulum serve, because a pattern with younger players especially is that they don't really have a lot of trust in crucial moments in their short forehand. They rather want to take backhand, or they don't have full faith in that, just because it is almost always a weaker shot, not because it's a worse option or anything. It's just because short forehand is often a weak spot with players. They're not so good at receiving with short forehand, and so he knew that. So that's why he served on purpose with topspin in my forehand, waiting for me to come in with my backhand, or even with a weak forehand flick, let's be honest. He just waited for me to open the game so that he could take over. And like I said, it's a recurring pattern, but I think it's good to point it out that why he did this at 12-12 at a crucial moment. Then even more, you can expect a flick to come if you do that serve.
Der natürlich auch weiß, dass es schwierig wird, wenn den Belgier spielen lässt. 13:12.
So once more, and you see now short in the forehand.
Wieder die Rückgabe etwas
So,
zu
yeah.
hoch. Diesmal kann Olaf Kosolowski allerdings nicht so gut darauf reagieren, bewegt sich zu
Match
sehr.
finished. Match finished. I was just glad more than anything to have played that match, because like I said, it's a dream come true. I'm very fortunate that I still had the opportunity when I was in this short stint of playing in Germany and when he was still playing, because now I think he's only going to play 1 or 2 more years with Düsseldorf, but he's not going to play internationally anymore. So that is something that I could scrap off my bucket list. So yeah, that was a video. Hope you got something from it. Thank you to Timo for all the memories over all those years and decades, because really he was my idol when I was growing up. I really looked up to him, I still do, and it was such an honor, such a privilege to play against him. Hope you got something from this video, and until next time.